नमस्कार फ्रेंड्स, अ वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून टू ऑल ऑफ यू। मैं संदीप शर्मा, कन्वीनर ईस्ट दिल्ली स्टडी सर्कल। आज के इस वेबिनार में आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं। हमारे फाउंडर कन्वीनर डॉक्टर श्री दुर्गादास अग्रवाल जी भी वेबिनार में आ चुके हैं। सर, आपका भी स्वागत है। फ्रेंड्स, आज के बीच हमारे गेस्ट स्पीकर सी रोहित वासवानी जी भी आ चुके हैं। वेलकम सर, वेलकम टू आवर वेबिनार। फ्रेंड्स, आज का जो टॉपिक है हमारा, हैंडलिंग ऑफ डिपार्टमेंटल ऑडिट एंड नोटिसेज अंडर जीएसटी। आप में से कई क्लाइंटों को फाइनेंशियल ईयर 17-18 के लिए जीएसटी ऑडिट की नोटिस आ चुकी होगी, कईयों की ऑडिट भी चल रही होगी, और अभी आप लोग फाइनेंशियल ईयर 18-19 में लगे हुए हैं जीएसटी ऑडिट में। आई बिलीव कि आप फाइल करेंगे और विद इन 2 और 3 मंथ आपको उसकी भी नोटिस आनी चाहिए। तो ऑलमोस्ट ऐसा नहीं है किसी एक स्टेट में आ रहा, बट यस, मेरी जो अपनी नॉलेज है उसके हिसाब से ऑलमोस्ट सारी जगह आ रहा। चाहे आप दिल्ली एनसीआर में, दिल्ली में हो, चाहे आप बद्दी में हो, चाहे कलकत्ता में हो, चाहे आप और भी स्टेट्स में हो, तो सब जगह स्टार्ट है आपका। तो बड़ा क्रूशियल हो जाता है कि आपने एक पीरियड को क्लोज किया, जीएसटी ऑडिट करा दी, और इस पीरियड में आपको नोटिसेस भी आ रहे हैं, तो आप उसको कैसे हैंडल करेंगे, आगे कैसे और प्रोसीड करेंगे। तो इन सब बातों को लेके आज हमारे बीच सीए रोहित वासवानी जी हैं। थोड़ा ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन में देना चाहूंगा फ्रेंड। रोहित वासवानी जी a seasoned speaker, एक्सपर्ट इन जीएसटी। रोहित वासवानी जी सीए भी हैं, आईसीडब्ल्यूए भी हैं, एडवोकेट भी हैं, और साथ ही साथ रोहित वासवानी जी भारतीय वित्त सलाहकार समिति के बीबीएसएस के प्रेसिडेंट भी हैं। और बड़ा ही रोहित वासवानी जी, अगर आप देखें, बहुत बहुमुखी प्रतिभा के धनी, और कई सारी चीज़ों को साथ लेके चलते हैं। केवल प्रोफेशनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है, इनकी सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी काफ़ी है। कई संस्थाओं से जुड़े हुए हैं और बहुत ही अच्छी कमांड है। अगर आप देखेंगे तो द वे ही यूज्ड टू स्पीक, मैंने हमेशा बोला है कि जो स्टोरी टेलिंग की इनकी जो मतलब वो आर्ट है कि वे ऑफ स्टोरी टेलिंग, वो बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग रहता है और आपको समा बांधे रहता है। आई होप आप सभी एंजॉय करेंगे, और आई बिलीव कि आप इसको जितना ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा होगा इंटरेक्टिव बनाने की कोशिश करेंगे, जैसा आप ऑलवेज बनाते आए हैं। तो इन्हीं सब बातों के साथ अब हम प्रोग्राम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए, आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट आवर फाउंडर कन्वीनर श्री दुर्गादास जी, प्रोग्राम की रूपरेखा बताएं सर, और प्रोग्राम की विधिवत शुरुआत कर रहे हैं। ओवर टू यू सर।
थैंक यू संदीप जी, द कन्वीनर ऑफ आवर एसटीडी सर्किल। इनके कंधों पर बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है। एसटीडी सर्किल के हमारे 6 प्रोग्राम, आज 6th प्रोग्राम है नवंबर के महीने का। तो काफी समय दे रहे हैं, इनपुट दे रहे हैं, नॉलेज दे रहे हैं। तो संदीप जी, आपको बधाई, आपको धन्यवाद। इन्होंने दिसंबर का भी प्लान कर लिया है, 8, 9, 10 एंड 15, 16, 17 दिसंबर का 2 आवर्स ईच, कुछ नए सब्जेक्ट, कुछ नए टॉपिक्स के साथ में। तो आप संदीप, बहुत बहुत बधाई आपको। और दोस्तों, जैसा बताया, रोहित वासवानी जी के लिए मेरे छोटे भाई हैं और परिचय काफी दिया, लेकिन मैं जो कहना चाहता हूं कि रोहित जी एक ऐसे सिटीजन हैं, एक ऐसे प्रोफेशनल हैं जिन्होंने समाज सेवा से कभी मुंह नहीं मोड़ा। तो एक ऐसे शख्स को हम आपके सामने पेश कर रहे हैं, और इन्होंने जो नॉलेज गेन की जीएसटी में, आज जहां भी कहीं नाम आता है तो कहते हैं कि रोहित जी को बुला लो जी, वासवानी जी को। तो इनकी नॉलेज का पीछे मैंने थोड़ा सा एनालाइज किया, तो इन्होंने जो अपनी प्रैक्टिस शुरू की, एक्साइज से ज्यादा इन्होंने, मतलब एक्साइज के कंसल्टेंट बड़े अच्छे रहे हैं। तो क्योंकि एक्साइज से ही बोरो किया गया काफी जीएसटी का, तो वो चीजें बड़ी क्लियर मतलब इनके कंसेप्ट में है। तो ऐसे रोहित वासवानी जी हमारे बीच में हैं, और पूरे 2 घंटे का आज जीएसटी पर है। इन्होंने टॉपिक की, आज के कार्यक्रम की रूपरेखा तो संदीप जी ने बताई दी है कि जो नोटिस आ रहे हैं, ऑडिट्स वगैरह है। इसके अलावा भी जो आपकी क्वेरी है, मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा रोहित जी से कि अपने क्वेश्चन आंसर में पार्टिसिपेंट्स हमारे डाल दें, जिससे कि वो यथोचित उत्तर रोहित वासवानी जी आपको जरूर दे देंगे, मैं ऐसा मेरा मानना है। तो इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ में रोहित वासवानी जी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत करते हुए, वेलकम करते हुए, और मैं देख रहा हूँ अभी 83 पार्टिसिपेंट्स जुड़ चुके हैं। उन पार्टिसिपेंट्स का भी बहुत बहुत स्वागत कि आप हमारे कार्यक्रम में बढ़ चढ़कर हिस्सा लेते हैं, सुनते हैं, अपनी क्वेरीज रखते हैं, तो आपका भी बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ में रोहित वासवानी जी को निमंत्रित करना चाहता हूं कि वो कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत करें, लेकिन प्रोटोकॉल संदीप शर्मा जी, प्लीज अनाउंस प्रोग्राम इज स्टार्ट। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सो मच। अब ज्यादा समय नहीं लेते हुए आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट रोहित जी, प्लीज स्टार्ट योर डेलिब्रेशन। ओवर टू यू रोहित जी।
Thank you, Sandeep ji. Respected Durga Das ji, my elder brother and guide and mentor in the profession. He has been always kind enough to extend the support in all the times. My friend Sandeep Sharma ji, who is the convener of East Delhi Study Circle, and senior members of the profession, and my dear friends. I would say it's again an opportunity for me. I have been here earlier also many times and have discussion on the GST. And now the time what we are going through, the time is for more execution and side-by-side learning is also there. But rather, I would like to say that it is execution is more important now rather than the learning, because when it is by way of two reasons. One, almost the GST has crossed the 3 years, and after implementation of the GST, earlier the department was behind us and we were moving fast. And from this year, I am seeing that department has become fast, and there may be a situation and we may be lag behind the department. And so it's time to implement, it's time to perform, it's time to execute. And even after the COVID also, so many things have started working, and only I will give you the example that how department has become fast. Earlier in implementation of the e-way bill, it took a lot of time and lot of energies from the department. But once the e-invoicing has been implemented from 1st of October 2020 for the suppliers having the turnover of more than 500 crore in any of the year starting from 2017 and 18, and immediately they came out with the suppliers who are having the turnover more than 100 crores. So only within 3 months, and even now we are in the end of the November month, not complete 2 months has been passed, but department has geared up with the implementation of the e-invoicing for 100 crore suppliers also. And this is the symptoms, this is the way we can see that how department is now working. And so far as the implementation of the new return system is concerned, the department has earlier also I have kept my words on this, that they have chosen to keep the old return system, GSTR 3B and GSTR 1, but with the modifications. And now the reverse situation will be there, that small suppliers having turnover up to 5 crore will be having the option to choose for the quarterly return filing. The return means GSTR 3B, whereas they will be able to upload the invoices at any time. There will be an invoice upload utility facility available for the small suppliers, meaning thereby now we have to wait for the 3 months to upload an invoice in GSTR 1. But from the 1st of January, which is proposed to be implementation of the quarterly return monthly tax system, the small suppliers will be able to upload the invoices and they can file the quarterly return. With this background, the today's topic which has been assigned to me is the departmental audit, and it has always been important task and for the professionals to handle the departmental audit, because whenever there is a notice from the department for conducting the audit, then the professionals comes into the picture, because the clients and the supplier always contact the professional who are handling their GST cases or compliance or GST consultancy to handle the departmental audit also. And I would like to segregate here between the CGST and SGST working, because the CGST is the department who was handling the central excise and service tax, and there was excise audit manual earlier also. There was a routine system of doing the service tax and excise audit. There is a separate audit cell commissionerate which has been there in the Delhi also and all over India, and there has been a system of doing the audits by the department. And generally we see that they divide the suppliers into small, medium and large, and depending on the suppliers, they allocate the work and allocate the work to the number of persons, number of officers who will be involving in the audit. And based on the risk analysis, they conduct the audit. What here I want to say that the CGST Central Tax Department has already geared up. It has already the infrastructure, it has already the experience, it has already the modus operandi that how the audit function is going to be there. And in GST regime also, they came out with a, instructions and circular in 2019 for conducting, starting the GST audit. And GST audit has already been started all over the India so far as the Central Tax Department is concerned. But so far as the state tax departments are concerned, each and every state has their own flora, own style of working, their own cadre base. And if you compare Delhi with UP, you will find the difference in working style. If you compare Haryana or any other eastern states, you will find the difference. And although the similar sections are there for conducting the audit under the CGST Act and the State GST Act, which is there, but the manner of conducting and the departmental approach of conducting these audits are different. So now, as we have already received the notices from the department, and notices are coming for many types of issues which we need to handle carefully. I will just give you a brief of the some of the notices which we are facing. And I would like to stress over here the nitty-gritties and the modus operandi and the working of the department, and especially the Central Tax Department, so far as the audit by the department under section 65, the departmental audit is concerned. So that will be the stress area. But starting from the some of the notices which we are having is one of the notices to the return defaulter under section 46. And the 46 notice comes in GSTR 3A. And you may be finding many SMS are coming, many emails are coming, and those SMS and mails and notices are mainly coming in Delhi. If we are talking about from the State Tax Department, State Tax Department has resorted to issue the notices under section 46. And whenever there is a default in furnishing of the return, means GSTR 3B, they issue you the notice. The importance of this notice is that it is not only they are asking you to submit the return, but also they will have the power to make the best judgment assessment under section 62. And the importance of the notice is that the department generally have the two course of action available for the return defaulters. One is to cancel the registration of the defaulter, and another is to send a notice and make the best judgment assessment under section for raising the demand against the supplier and pressurizing the supplier to file the return. And that has worked also. And many compliances we have seen in the state tax department and the central tax also, wherever this notice we are receiving. Another notice is REG 17. Earlier, 1 year before, you have seen many notices this year also, but more notices from the state tax department are coming under section 46 rather than REG 17 for cancellation of the registration. Once the registration is cancelled of a supplier who has not furnished the return, or for the reasons mentioned in section 29 of the CGST Act for cancellation, it is really a hardship on the supplier when the registration is cancelled. And it is not only a hardship on the supplier, but it is hardship on all the recipients also, who have procured the supplies from the person whose registration has been cancelled. So it is basically impacting the whole ecosystem. The supplier who are selling the goods to a person whose RC has been cancelled will show that RC cancel, and you cannot add a B2B invoice in your GSTR1 because the RC registration is cancelled. The supplier who is the person whose registration has been cancelled, he is neither able to avail any input tax credit, he is nor able to raise any tax invoice or pass on the credit to the recipients. And from the part of the recipient also, you see that the credit chain is broken, and they may receive the notices so far as the ITC is concerned, as the registration of the supplier has already been cancelled. And once the registration is cancelled, there is no question of generation of e-way bill. The movement of goods is also impacted. That's why this cancellation action is basically disturbing the whole ecosystem. And when we see the issues relating to the fake invoices, issues relating to the exporters where the IGST refund has been claimed based on the certain invoices or ITC which were not appropriate or not according to provisions of the law. So they initially resorted for cancellation of the registration, and many registrations are still cancelled where the investigation is still going on. The suppliers are going to department, submitting the details, and when the issue is severe, they are not getting the registration restored. Then we have very important section, and this, rather than I would link this ASMT 10 with the audit by the department. It is basically scrutiny of the returns, and you can say in a way this is also an audit by the department only. But here only one party, means the department is taking the action, department is scrutinizing the returns, and based on the data furnished in the return, based on the artificial intelligence tools which has been inbuilt in the GSTIN portal, the MIS available, and the availability of the data from various sources, integration of the data from income tax and other authorities, this ASMT 10 becomes very important. This is the starting point, this is the triggering point from where the things may go very long. And there are reasons that based on this ASMT, many search has been conducted, investigation proceedings has been started, notice under section 70 summons has been issued, and many other actions has been taken based on the inputs in ASMT 10 or inputs received through the artificial intelligence. There may be the cases where ASMT 10 has not been issued, but directly the department has taken the action because the cases are so severe. So this ASMT 10 is playing a very important role so far as the digital governance, e-governance of GST is concerned. Now the question comes, the scrutiny of returns, and return is basically GSTR 3B and the information relating to the outward supply in GSTR 1. And now we have another document also, GSTR 2A and GSTR 2B also. The 2A becomes the dynamic, and 2B is the static data of the input tax credit, which will be available to the suppliers. Now, if you see the whole schema, it is very important for the professionals to keep watch on the filing of the returns. And what I generally think, and I'm seeing that the filing of the returns are generally being handled by the, staff of the chartered accountants firm or the professionals and the article clerks or the trainees. And if these filing of returns are being handled by the non-qualified staff or the unskilled staff, so it may pose a serious challenges so far as the departmental proceedings are concerned. And there may be a situation where you will be in a fix only due to the punching of the wrong data in the wrong column. And only I give you a small example. If you are having a credit of IGST from import, and if you put this credit rather than in the import column in questionable, and it may become triggering for the departmental notices. Now coming to the notice for audit by the department, this is ADD1. This is the topic mainly or partly which we are going to discuss today. How to handle. So what exactly the department do at the time of issuing of the notice, and what is the working style? And it is the professionals who are dealing since service tax and central excise, they may be knowing there is a systematic way procedure. And let me clarify also you, the if anybody is under the jurisdiction of central tax, whose proper officer is under the central tax department, will be audited one this year or the next year or any other year, because they generally audit 100% cases, uh, not in the 1 year, depending on the risk analysis. And now risk analysis is not manual. Earlier in central excise, risk analysis used to be the manual marathon exercise. There were the triggers, and mainly the Senvet was the concern so far as the central excise was concerned. But here we have the computerized data, and I will discuss you the instructions which has been issued under the GST. First instructions for conducting the departmental audit for the year 2017 and 18. And keep in mind that generally and mainly the audit starts only when the annual return has been filed by the supplier, or the due date of the filing of the annual return has been passed. Even if the annual return has not been filed by the supplier, then the ball comes into the departmental code. We have seen many notices which are coming for year 18-19 also for departmental audit. So I would suggest that if anyone who has not furnished the annual return yet, because the due date has been extended till 31st of December 2020. So you can write to the department, wait for the audit for the year 18-19 till the annual return of the supplier is being furnished. Because once the annual return is furnished, then the self-assessment process is complete, and if any variation is found, then it will be on the department to raise the questions. And after raising the questions, if the satisfactory answer has not been received, they can go ahead for show cause notices and further proceedings. We have summons under section 70. Little bit we will discuss about summons also. In many cases, the summons under section 70 are coming, and many of the professional ask that why these summons are coming under section 70. So let it be very clear that the summon under section 70 are for doing the investigations. There is no need that there should be some specific information with the department, or some concrete amount of tax involved with the department. If some concrete information is there that this amount has been evaded, or there is a violation, then the show cause notice under section 74 or 73 may come. But section 70 is for inquiry under the GST, inquiry for examining the person on oath, is recording the statement, asking for the information. And this is the powers which are given to the central tax department or the GST department under the CGST and SGST law, where they will inquire. And based on the inquiry, now there may be so many reasons that why summons under section 70 are coming. It is not only in case of the issues related to the ITC on fake invoices. This is the one of the major concern where we see these summons, or the raising the invoices, tax invoices, without actually supplying the goods or services. But there are other cases also where the summons may come. Suppose you are a supplier and you have not furnished your GST or 3B, say for a quite longer time, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, or any number of months. And you have been a very good taxpayer, and there are certain segments where, you will find that they are delay in making the payment. If you are charging the GST from the customer, if the burden of the GST is passed on to the customers or the recipient, and tax is not being paid regularly, it may invite the summons, it may invite the investigation, that you may be having the GST collected, and they can ask you, they can record the statement. Or there may be cases, suppose they find out the case that where the supply is being made at the rate of 5%, whereas as per the information of the department, the particular supply should be at the rate of 18% or 12% or whatever amount. If such a variation is there and the company is having a huge turnover, it's a big amount of tax involved, or the exemption amount claimed is, very heavy exemption is claimed based on the return. If you find that maximum amount of supply shown under the exempted supply, they can straight away issue you the summons under section 17. They can call upon the owners of the company or the authorized person to record the statement, but also the documents, and they can examine whether the particular supply is taxable at the respective appropriate rate of tax, or the exemptions claim has been correct or not. So there are so many n number of cases you will find the summons. And certainly when the summons come, we professional also take it very seriously. Otherwise, generally the notice, handling of notice under section 73, 74 is a little bit or easier than handling the section 70 summons. Reason is that in the notice 73 and 74, it is the open allegation. The ball is in the court of the now supplier to reply on the allegations which has been there. Now the case has been almost crystallized where you can litigate or you can accept the show cause notice also. But the summon, it may reach to any stage, and there may be many issues. Suppose only the rate of tax issue was there with the department when the summon was issued, but later on during the course of investigation, when the documents were submitted, they found there is a huge amount of exempt supply also, which the supplier supposed to be exempt, but it may, according to the department, may not be the exempt supply. So these are the few of the glimpses I have covered. I'm going to take up here. Certainly this discussion, always I like to make the interactive, and at a stage I will after some time when the basic working is over, I will ask the moderators and the convener to have the question answer, to make the interaction, because at the starting, at the outset itself, I have told you it is not less learning and rather than more execution, which we are going to take up today. It's really a time for execution, as the month of November is also going on. We are doing tax audits, we are doing GST audits, we are doing corporate audits, and all compliances are there. So execution is more important rather than simplicity of learning. And then, notice of default return, I have already discussed, and the implication is very important. You know, the implication is very important, that it is under section 39 being GSTR 3B is defaulted, then this notice can be issued. And if the annual return has not been filed, then also the return defaulter notice can be issued. Still the department is not utilizing this tool, because there will be two cases so far as the annual return is concerned. One are the cases where the aggregate supply is up to 2 crore rupees, where the annual return will be deemed to have been filed as per the exemption given as per the circular issued for the suppliers. But where the aggregate turnover exceeds 2 crore and still the annual return has not been filed, then you may face with a notice under section 46, and final return is also there on GSTR 10, where the notice can come. And apart from this notice, as I discussed, that cancellation or suspension of the registration under section 29, they have also the alternative remedy available, but this disturbs the whole ecosystem, and it is going to create trouble to the suppliers, and the genuine businesses are also suffered. So department generally analyze the things. They have the physical verification done from the inspector. They see whether this business is really the business, or it is only a dummy firm or shell companies, or by whatever name you call. Then in case of the dummy firm or only the shell companies, they certainly first of all cancel the registration. But if they find that the business is genuine but there is a default which is going on, rather they should, I would rather say, prefer the notice under section 46 rather than in 29. And we always try to convince to the department the reasons which were there beyond the conditions, which is in the control of the suppliers. And there are cases where 3 consecutive tax periods under section 10, although this needs also suitable modifications, because the section 10 talks about the composition, and the tax period for the composition so far as GSTR 4 is concerned is the annual law. And in case of GSTR 3B 6 continuous period, this is the continuous period. And there is one liberty also, the cancellation notice in REG 17 used to come even if there was not default for continuous 6 months of filing of GSTR 3B. And the department has also restriction, and department has not ample or open power to cancel the registration in any case. There are only specified circumstances where only the department can choose to cancel the registration. Rather, the notice under section 46 is more flexible. Even if you have not filed the return for single month, suppose October month 3B date was 24th of November, and now we are sitting on 27, the department can send you a notice in 46 and asking you to file the return, but it cannot ask you to cancel the registration on 1 month default only. And certainly after cancellation, we have the opportunity for revocation also. And we have the REG 21 form, which is to be filed within 30 days. And before filing, you need to file the returns from the date of cancellation. The pending returns you need to file, and if the registration has been cancelled retrospectively with a date which is prior to the date of cancellation, then up to that period you are supposed to file the return before applying for the revocation. And after revocation, you are again supposed to make up the returns from the date of effective cancellation till the date of cancellation within 30 days from the revocation of the registration. So these are the cases and which we are handling, and go to the department very in a time bound manner. I have seen many cases where the time limits have expired. And time limits, if we are talking about the e-governance or digital governance, and if we are talking about that faceless everything, if we don't have the interaction, so if we do not follow these limitations, then the portal may not allow you to submit the application. It is not the time earlier when we could have filed the manual applications also, or belated applications also. If a time limit is of 30 days for submitting the REG 21, on the 31st day, the portal may not allow you to submit the application. And still, this time limit can be enhanced, although that amendment has not been made effective yet in the section. It yet to be notified from Finance Act 2020, but the time limit can be extended by the commissioner for a further period, and that is there. So this is regarding the revocation of the registration. And we had a order recently on 25th of June during the COVID period, lockdown period, and the facility was given till the 31st of August to all the registrations which were cancelled, because 30 days time limit starts from the order of cancellation. But from the service of order of cancellation, when the cancellation order was passed, there was so many cases where the cancellation order was uploaded on the GST portal and cancellation order was given by mail, but it has escaped the mind of the supplier. So one time amnesty they have already given, and it has expired also till 31st day of August, although it was a limited opportunity, and I would not like to dwell upon much time, but if there is any query which is there, then we can discuss. Let me discuss section 70 also, and once we reach to the departmental audit, then we will have a pause for the discussion if required. Then we have section 70. I have given you the little bit brief about section 70 also, and this is the section 70, which is basically the summons. The power is given to the officer to make the sure the attendance of the person, and for who can give the evidence or produce the document for any inquiry, and that inquiry will be treated as inquiry under the civil procedure, and the powers is there with the officer to record the statement. Then what is the impact of having the code of civil procedure applicable here or the judicial proceeding applicable here? Once any statement is recorded by the officer, that will be admissible evidence under court of law, and the court may pass the order. There are so many cases which are coming for the bail, and these all statement recorded are being accepted by the court as the evidence, and based on the statement recorded, so many bails are being rejected. In some of the cases, bails are being granted also, and the power is given to the officer as a judicial proceedings. And when powers are there, it is not only to have the statement to be recorded, but it is power for compelling the person to produce the document also. Because if there is a violation of section 70, then against the violation, then every action can be taken as the violation of the judicial proceedings, and CRPC action can be taken with the court of law. But the important part is that we need to cooperate with the department if these type of notice is coming. In court also, these types of observations are making a very important role, and it is being mentioned that whether the person or the supplier has cooperated with the department or not. Once there is a notice, we need to respond to the notice in the time bound manner. Even if when we will be discussing on the notice for audit, and we should immediately respond to the notice received for audit also. If we have any hitch or any time we require for getting the accounts audited, then we can write the audit officer or the superintendent handling the audit cases, the person who has issued the notice, to for giving you the time for adjournment and whatever relief you wanted. But not responding to the notices, whether it is under section 70 or any other section, it is adversely taken by the department, and it is adversely taken by the court also. And we should carefully take care that these notices are being handled properly. Now, if you see, then section 70, we have in section 69, we have the power to arrest also, and the power to arrest is perimetria with the section 132, and section 132 read with section 70 plays very important role. And when there is reason to believe that there is a offense which is committed relating to the supply without invoice or issue of invoice leading to wrong availment of ITC. You know, ITC is bone of contention. And what is the reason? The chain of ITC is so big in the GST that both ways. One of the important point is that the whole amount of department revenue is based on the ITC chain. If it is broken or if it is misutilized, then the huge revenue impact is there on the department. And secondly, it is very important for the genuine supplier also to have the due credit available to the suppliers, available to the recipient, to have the value added chain system properly. And that's why the ITC is very important, and we have to take care about the all the ITC chain. The one of the question comes that how far the recipient is responsible for due diligence so far as the invoice of the supplier is concerned. And if you see practically, if we are dealing with a person on day-to-day basis, our business relations are long, say 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years, and we are regularly dealing with the person. Somehow we have a responsibility for due diligence of the suppliers also. And there may be a cases where really there is no default of the recipient. But even if there is no default of the recipient, so far as section 16(2) is concerned, the condition prescribed before availment of the ITC, we need to take care it very carefully. We do not have any precedent or any judgment which is giving relaxation from the fulfillment of the conditions of section 16(2). So far as the payment of taxes is concerned, it should have been paid either by the supplier or by the recipient. If it is RCM, then by the recipient, or if it is forward charged by the supplier. This is the condition precedent to availment of the ITC. Yes, we have the shelter that how do we verify whether a particular supply, the tax has been paid by the supplier or not. And even on that case, we do not have any judicial pronouncement which is favoring the recipient to allow the credit when he was not in a position. After that, if it is found that really the tax has not been paid to the department, then it is very doubtful that the credit will be allowed to the recipient. But if tax has been paid, it may not be appearing in GSTR 2A. There may be any other technical glitches or any other procedural lapses. But if the tax has been really paid, I think that personally also in judicial pronouncement also, that ITC will not be denied to the recipient if due tax has been received by the government. So one of the important default is collecting of tax, but not making the payment beyond 3 months. And if taxes are being collected and not being paid, there has been arrest also. In year 2020, we had the High Court discussion pronouncement also, where the taxes has not been paid beyond 3 months, and the arrest has been made if the amount is the amount which is prescribed under the law, 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore limit, then the arrest can also be happen. Then where the amount of tax evasion exceeds 5 crore, then the imprisonment is there, and imprisonment which may extend to the 5 years. And this is the case which is cognizable non-bailable offense. And the cognizable non-bailable offense means the officer in charge, the proper officer of the GST department, can arrest the person in case the default is cognizable and non-bailable. In that case, it is presented to the magistrate after arrest and taken to the judicial custody. And bail in the normal procedure, CRPC procedure, may be filed by the person who has been arrested, and bail will not be granted by the GST officer. But if the amount of tax evasion exceeds 2 crore, but do not exceed up to 5 crore, then in that case, the bail will be granted by the GST officer only if the conditions of the bail has been fulfilled. If the conditions of the bail has not been fulfilled, then the bail will again go to the magistrate. But in case where the default is exceeding 2 crore up to 5 crore, then the GST officer generally has to give the bail. But if the amount of evasion is up to 1 crore rupees, there is no provision for arrest, but prosecution can be launched, and the sentence may be there by the court, and after sentence the punishment can be there. So this is the power, and I have already told you that where the imprisonment is up to 5 years, it will be arrested by the officer and it will be produced before the magistrate within 24 hours. And in case where it is a bailable non-cognizable offense, it will be bail will be allowed by the GST officer subject to fulfillment of the conditions. Now, few judicial pronouncement, recent, I would like proceedings which are going on day and night. The cases are coming. We have been listening many notices, many arrests, and many investigations which are going on. And keep in mind that it is not, the heat is not only on the person who has been arrested or the person who were the main culprit, but this heat goes on till down the line, and down the line to the real business person who has actually utilized the input tax credit. There may not be arrest, but there may be notices under section 70, and then we need to reply it cautiously. And this is one of the judgment of Patiala House Court recently on 17th of November 2020. This is GST intelligence case versus Rakesh Kumar, and the amount of involvement was about 180 crore. More than 180 crore ITC was passed, and it was a regular bail petition which was there with the magistrate, metropolitan magistrate, and bail was dismissed. And the contention of the petitioner was that on the ground of parity, bail should be granted, because to other accused the bail was granted in the same case. The court held that it cannot be a case of parity, and in this case offense alleged against the accused is grave in nature, considering the manner in which it committed and the amount involved in the commission of this offense. So this is not a case that if a bail has been given to one accused, then all the accused will get the bail. This is not the case. Golden rule, so far as the bail is concerned, many high courts and Supreme Courts has held that it depends on the gravity of the case in each of the case separately, and we cannot make a straight away law that in these cases the bail will be granted and in these cases bail will not be granted. Another case, Subhash Chandra versus State of Punjab. This is Punjab and Haryana High Court, and it was also a alleged input tax credit. It is about 10.81 crore on the basis of invoices without being actual sale of good. And in this case, the bail was granted, and based on the facts of the case, and the period of 10 months and was already there, and the amount was of 10 crore, and the interim bail was converted into the regular bail, and in this case the bail was granted. So in the similar manner, we have many judicial precedents where the either bail has been granted or bail has been rejected, but in most of the cases, and one of the in case of Odisha High Court, there was a categorical observation so far as these financial offenses are involved, and in offenses relating to GST are involved, that these are very severe offenses, and there cannot be a case for granting the bail. And Odisha High Court has categorically denied the bail in many cases. Sandeep ji, at this juncture, if you have any queries or if any interactive discussion is required, we can have a pause.
Rohit, there is one query from Subramanya ji,
Yes.
and the query is it is seen that notice 3A is being issued to almost every GST payer. How to respond or deal with notice 3A in cases where no returns are pending?
You know, there has been some of the cases where the returns are not pending. You simply need to reply to the notice, attaching the copy of the return filed and mentioning the ARN number of the GSTR 3B. And if you have received the notice on mail, you can reply on mail also. You can send it through speed post also, and there should not be any glitches. There should not be any action against those notices where return is already filed. As I have already told you, massive notices being issued and SMS and emails are being used by the state tax department, especially nowadays, and they are resorting to the notice under 46 rather than issuing REG 17. Yes, can we go further or
Yeah, we can go further as there is no such query, right?
Okay. Now, as I have already briefed you who have joined from starting, that scrutiny of the return, this is a sort of the audit by the department, and we should take it very seriously. And if at the time of filing of the return our working is meticulous, we have worked very well, there is a systematic keeping of books of account. I will tell you one of the circular I will show you issued by the audit commissionerate so far as the GST audit for the year 2017-18 is concerned. If you have got the notice for 18-19, you can still ask the department to wait till the filing of the annual return if the supplier has not filed yet. You know, in many cases, you will find the way of keeping the books of account is very important. If you are having the correct data every month and filing the return very carefully, then you may be comfortable, you may be peaceful. And if the returns are being filed casually, then you may be in trouble. And so far as scrutiny of returns are concerned, this is part of the audit procedure or the artificial intelligence, you may say. The notice is ASMT 10 is being issued by the department. And in the ASMT 10, they ask the registered person to clarify the certain issues. And there may be cases where the notice says that you have not paid this much of the amount. I give you example, if you have claimed the ITC of rupees 1 crore during a particular return, and in GSTR 2A for that particular month, the ITC of 90 lakh is coming. The department may ask you to deposit the 10 lakh rupees or clarify the issue why this 10 lakh amount has been claimed, which is not being reflected in GSTR 2A or whatever the reason. It is not that you have been allowed the leverage under Rule 36(4). Even the clarification can be asked, because even after the rule is restricting even the genuine ITC also. But nowhere rule is allowing you to take a liberty to claim the ITC which is not available to you, which is not eligible to you on the pretext that 10% is available to you. That is not the case. Deferment of the ITC is the intention in case of Rule 36, that you will be allowed only when the supplier puts it in the GSTR 1 and which comes into the chain of ITC, and so far as the ITC is concerned. And registered person may furnish the explanation in ASMT 11 form and reply, and there is a time limit also to give the reply. And if the reply has been accepted, then there is a form called ASMT 12 where the department will the explanation or the amount deposited. Otherwise, the department can take the action further. And I have told you, this is the stage where the action from the department, where the proceeding from the department triggers. It may be investigation, it may lead to section 70 notice, it may lead to show cause notice, it may lead to search, it may lead to inspection. There may be in many instances, there may be many remedies available to the department based on the amount of tax involved. And if we see this is the procedure that the proper official will scrutinize the return. Mainly when we say that proper official will scrutinize return, is based on the artificial intelligence. It is based on computer-related mismatch, exceptional report, data given to the officer, because there is a huge data. And in case of huge data, data mining is not an easy task. And in these cases, there may be, many cases where the department may not be having the exact information if their artificial information is not proper. And the proper officer shall issue a notice in ASMT 10 informing the discrepancies and asking for explanation. And time limit is within not exceeding 30 days. Actually, it is written in the rules that it is not exceeding 30 days. The department may allow 10 days also, 15 days also. But in any case, the time should be a reasonable opportunity given to the supplier for submitting the reply. Department cannot say, you come tomorrow and explain the discrepancy, otherwise we will take the action. Although department has power to start the action, in the another sections, but in section 61, it is the not exceeding 30 days time limit which is given. And there may be a cases, I have told you, that quantification of tax and interest is there, and the registered person may find that yes, this amount is payable, and he deposit the amount and deposit the same, the matter goes, and otherwise the registered person will be submitting the explanation in ASMT 11, and the department may accept or may not accept the explanation which has been submitted by the supplier or the recipient, as the case may be. Now, what are the actions available to the proper officer? Audit can be asked under section 65. Although I have told you there is a audit manual which is issued, and audited almost in the cases who are under the jurisdiction of central tax will be done. It may be on annual basis based on the risk analysis, but if in any case they comes once in a 5 year, they will cover the whole 5-year period, or the period which is legally eligible to time under section 74 for issuing the so-called notice. So they will cover, and this is one of the criteria there for selecting the cases. Audit also that, if there has not been the audit since many years, this is one of the criteria for selecting the cases for audit. And so far as the central tax department is concerned, they are generally having the high turnover cases, because generally the up to 5 crore jurisdiction has been passed on to state tax authorities, and the list they have prepared for 2017-18 covers almost 80% of the suppliers. In 20% of the supplier balance, they are also not left, that can be also selected based on the local risk ratings, and there are the triggers, I will tell you here also, based on which the audit can be asked even in 20% cases also. And one is a special audit. This is by the chartered accountant or cost accountant. This is a case where the accounts are so complex that it is very difficult to have the information, to have the tax amount or the evasion. Then they ask for the special audit, so that it takes time and the professional services are being utilized. And then inspection or search is there under section 67. And then the adjudication of demand is also one of the option, if based on the information available from the ASMT 10 or the reply submitted by the supplier, it is clear that the show cause notice can be sent, and the department will issue the show cause notice. So these are the cases where the notices will be given. And apart from this scrutiny of the returns, we have section 65 audit, which we are mainly covering departmental audit. But audit, if you see, we have three types of audit mainly. One is the 65 audit, which is done by the department. Another is the annual audit, tax audit we call, under section 35(5), where the turnover for these years 18, 19 and 19, 20 more than 5 crore rupees, the audit is required. And one is the special audit there. But what we are going to touch upon here is mainly the audit by the department, which is the routine procedure. Sometimes we see that there was a concept of assessment. Earlier in income tax also, prior to prima facie adjustment under section 143(1), when 88, 89, these sections came, there was a concept of 100% assessment. In sales tax also, the Delhi Sales Tax Act 1975, we had the 100% cases assessed every year. And from the implementation of the VAT from 2005, so far as Delhi is concerned, after implementation of the VAT, there was no formal assessment. But due to the concessional rate of tax in the Central Sales Tax Act, the C form, H form, I form were involved. And for gathering these statutory form, the assessment sort of order being passed, and Form 9 was introduced, assessment. Even today also, we are getting the VAT assessments done. But in GST, if you find there is no formal concept of assessment, there is no routine assessment, there is no need for assessment every year, then what is the check on the supplier? The modus operandi of the department of the check is the audit. The department generally in the excise and service tax regime used to come to the business premises, and they do the audit at the premises of the dealer or the manufacturer in excise regime. But in GST, they have relaxed the law, and for a small supplier, they will be doing the desk audit, meaning thereby the same method, the same procedure, the same documentation will be there, but they will call you in their office and you can go and get the audit done. But in case of medium and large, even still now in GST also, they will be visiting the premises and they will be doing the audit. And if you see audit by tax authorities, the commissioner, or the officer by general or special order may undertake audit of any registered person. What is this general or special order? Generally, this order are the GST audit manual or the excise audit manual. EA 2000, there was excise audit manual. In GST also, more or less, they have continued the same manual. And in 2019, they came out with a manual of GST audit, and they issued the circular also that how to start the auditing under GST. And period of audit may be the financial year or part thereof or multiple of thereof, because 17, 18 will be only 9 months audit, because GST came from 1st of July till 31st of March, it will be 9 months. They can cover 2 years together, they can cover 3 years together, but it has to be within the statutory limit of issuing the show cause notice. They can cover. And the place of audit, as I have already told you, it will be the place of business, or it can be desk audit also. And notice is going to come in ADT 01, and at least 15 days prior to the conduct of audit, they will issue the notice. And they are issuing more than 15 days. They are giving you 1 month or more than a month time to prepare the documents. And there is one checklist which is there in the ADT1 notice. They ask you to submit the file or the information which has been asked in the checklist, and based on the checklist, they work on the risk parameters. I will tell you how the risk parameters are being identified so far as the departmental audit is concerned. And it's very interesting, and it is a cup of accountants to handle these types of assignments. And you know, there may be some cases where specific observation are there, and if you have satisfied the party, audit party, regarding the observations or the parameter which we bring themselves, although they may not tell you what exactly the observation is there regarding the auditee or the supplier, but once they are satisfied, the audit become much easier, and they may not go in very deep, and they can conclude the audit after satisfying the specified cases. And time limit is also prescribed. This is section 65 and rule 101, which we are discussing here. Within a period of 3 months, the audit will be completed, and it may be further extendable for 6 months. But the important part is that this 3 months period or the extension period will be counted from the commencement of audit. And commencement of audit is not issuing the ADD 1. If the ADD 1 is issued on a particular date, the 3 months will not start from there. The commencement of audit is defined there, and it shall mean the date on which the records and other documents called for by the tax authorities are made available by the registered person or the actual institution or the audit at the place of business, whichever is later. Mind it, whichever is later. If they asked you the documents and you have not provided the document, the audit has not commenced. Even if you have visited the place of business, but the required documents you have not provided, the audit is not commenced. Once the required documents are provided, the audit is commenced, and they will complete it in generally in 3 months period. And what the proper officer will do, what the mandate is available, the proper officer or the audit team, generally audit team we have, depending on the size of the supplier. If it is a small, medium or large, if it is a small or medium, 3-member team may be there, one superintendent, two inspectors, or three inspectors, one superintendent. If it is a large entity, there will be two superintendent, 3 or 4 inspectors. So depending on the size of the auditee. So far as the infrastructure is concerned, the central tax has sufficient infrastructure to audit 80% or 70% of the cases every year. And the list which is being provided to the audit commissionerate, and because the number of suppliers are less so far as the central tax is concerned. Earlier also in excise, the number of manufacturers were very less, and here the state tax department is having the small suppliers mainly. So it depends on the infrastructure of the each state government, and what the audit team is going to do with the assistance of the team of the officer. They can verify the documents on the basis of which books of accounts are maintained, the correctness of the turnover declared, exemptions and deductions claimed in the annual return, the returns statement furnished, and the rate of tax charged, ITC, input tax credit claimed, refund claim. They will verify all these cases, and these are the generally cases which the auditor, GST auditor, chartered accountant or cost accountant also do while doing the audit, so far as the audit under section 35(5) is concerned, and GST of 9C is concerned. And then they will notice the discrepancies. And this is very important. Practically, we need to understand there are so many queries which are coming, and due to the reason the professionals were not handling the service tax or excise assignment earlier, they ask, there is a letter given by the audit party, is it a show cause notice, or what is the nature of the particular notice. Actually, prior to conclusion of the notice, there may be the communication between the department and the auditee. And that communication is within law, but that is not the show cause notice. That is only prior to conclusion of the audit. Even after concluding the audit, it may not be cause notice. They may ask you opportunity to deposit the amount if there is there. That is we call the pre-show cause proceedings. There are pre-show cause proceedings, there are pre-audit proceedings, and we need to understand these audit and show cause proceedings. And if after exchange of communication between the department and the auditee, the finding can be there, audit, uh, and the registered person in ADT2 within 30 days will submit they will submit to the registered person that these are the findings. And detection of tax liability, and they can, if there is any detection of tax liability, all these three steps, the discrepancy is the pre-audit communication, findings is after conclusion of the audit, and detention of tax liability is a show cause notice stage. These are all prior to show cause notice, and after that there may be a show cause notice, in which may be under section 73 or 74. Now coming to more practical aspects, and this I think the topic of the day, uh, the demand which is very well coming. The queries are also coming. The department has started audit, and before audit we had so many notices. Also ASMT 10 is or like that only. Section 70 is also there. They ask for the information, and there is a time limit for furnishing the reply for those also. The action plan for the year 2019-20, the financial year which has gone just preceding year, basically there was a circular issued by the Director General of Audit that they are starting the audit for the year 2017 and 18 from the year 1920, and still the audit of 18 is going on, and they are issuing the notice for 18-19 also. What are the highlights of this action plan? I would like to discuss here, because these are all practical aspects, and you will appreciate at the end of the discussion that how practically we are going to face and handle these all audit assignments. And now again, I may be repeating at the cost of repetition. It is the time of pre-martum. GST is the digital law. Now the department has started working fast. There may be a situation after 6 months or a year, department may become very fast. Now we have to gear up that we should do pre-martum. Return filing is a very important event for our offices also. We keep on discussing how to enhance the quality of the return filing system. There should be a review of returns also, but in you know many cases don't take it in a negative manner. The suppliers or the clients are not able to understand the compliance function in a manner which they should understand, and we also own the responsibility. And sometimes if there is a notice, or sometime if there any discrepancy being noticed by the department, the ball comes in the court of the professional, and the supplier says you are the person filing the return, and you say, sir, you give this information only, your accounts are not up to date, you don't have the qualified accountants, and there are so many mess up with the clients. But we need to be very cautious, and otherwise after down the line 2-3 days, if department starts working auditing, the supplier will learn, and the importance of the accountants, importance of the filing of the return, importance of the compliance person will gradually established. And we need to take care also, and we need to grab the opportunity also, we need to systemize also. And what I was just referring you the highlights of this action plan, and the highlights is that they will start audit only where the annual return has been filed, and there will be a list of taxpayers, and this list of taxpayers is based on the risk scores, and these risk scores will be generated by the DDM portal, and there are the computerized generation. The audit commissionerate will receive the list from the Director General of Audit. It is the centralized function with the CGST department. We are discussing because we have an action plan of CGST. There may be an action plan for each and every state separately. So there are 29, 30 states and union territories, and we need to discuss those modus operandi. But even if whatever may be the action plan, the points are going to be the similar only. And the procedure also going to be the similar only. And they will generate the list based on the large, medium, and small, providers. And category of taxpayers is based on the turnover. And generally, I told you that turnover up to 5 crore is kept by the state department, but in central data that will be small taxpayer. And the turnover includes all exempt and zero rated supply, but they are saying it will not exclude the non-GST supplies, meaning thereby the petroleum or alcoholic liquor may not be triggered in these lists as a small, medium, or large taxpayers. And there will be the risk flags. They will flag ABC flag based on the artificial intelligence. That's what I was in the starting also referring you the digital compliance, digital governance, e-governance, and it all depends on the quality of returns being filed by the suppliers and by us. And in the risk flag, there are so many parameters. I will show you some of the parameters for flagging of the risk. And on the basis of this risk, they will almost and 10% of the taxpayer to be selected randomly also. They will 80% of the supplier they are covering in these list. Out of 80%, they are planning to have the audit of 70%. And apart from this 80%, 10% will be randomly selected. The total 80% they are targeting every year. And apart from this risk, they will have the decision support system also. They will give the points to the audit party also, jurisdiction also. And based on those points, the audit will be undertaken. And they will ask you the document based on the parameters which has been given by the centralized Director General of Audit based on the system. And even after parameters, they can ensure that all issues are duly examined. So they are not restricted to the defined parameters which are given in the decision support system in the list. Apart from that also, they can apply their sixth sense, and they can apply their own sense and analytical data at the time of visit, also at the time of verification. And generally, and these are the number of days which was there in excise also, almost same thing is there, that for large units they take generally 7 days, for medium units they take 5 days, and for small units they take 3 days. Even 1 day also they take for the specific parameter based audit. They sometimes conclude the audit in single day also. And there are internal instructions for the first year. They generally are making their audit based on the defined parameters which are there in the list provided by the Director General of Audit. And they say the small taxpayer, which is about 7.5 or 10 crore based on the city. If we are talking about the Delhi, it is 10 crore up to 10 crore is small, 10 to 40 crore is medium, and more than 40 crore is the large taxpayer. And this is all highlights of the uh, audit manual instruction given. I have already told you that 80% they are going to cover in this list, out of which 70% they are going to audit. And the local department, local commissioners, local audit commissioners will have the power also. Apart from the list which is there from Director General of Audit, they will have the power to select 20% cases also based on the local risk factors. What are the local risk factors? Depend on many considerations. Type of businesses also, area also, but in that case they will obtain the approval from the jurisdictional chief commissioner if they want to do the audit of a auditee which is not there in the list provided by the Director General of Audit, but they want to do the audit. They will get the approval from chief commissioner, and after approval they will do the audit. And the approval will be given by the chief commissioner only in case where the detailed note is prepared, and based on the parameters they will mention that how this audit is being selected. As I have already told you that in case of small suppliers up to 10 crores, they are preferring desk-based audit. You can go, but if you don't go to the desk of the audit officer, they will come to your desk. It depends to whose desk you like more. It is the desk of auditor or the desk of the supplier. And in case of large, suppliers, they will certainly go to the business premises. In service tax, they used to go to the business premises. They never like to do the businesses in sitting on their office. And 3 months time is there, which is there in the law. Rule has been provided. I have told you they will conclude. And one thing very important, which is near to my heart, that if at the time of doing the audit under the GST they find any non-compliance relating to the central excise time, or certainly within the time period of 5 years from the due date of the return for that particular month, and from 17 5 years will end on 2022 almost. And if any matter is find out related to excise and service tax also, so they will intimate to the uh, department, and that there may be a suitable action. There may be another notice or another audit so far as the central excise or service tax violations are concerned. And there may be many cases, although I don't want to highlight because it may be utilized negatively also. There are so many cases where the department has opportunity. Many suppliers were not registered under the excise, even though they were liable to be registered. And many cases, the service tax violations were there. Uh, Keep it here. And what are the local risk parameters based on which the cases will be selected? These are not only the local parameters, these are the parameters which is used by artificial intelligence also, and accountants can easily understand that how these parameters are working, and quickly and fastly going with these parameters. And I have already told you, reply, timely reply. If you do not reply or delay reply, that may lead to the audit. If taxpayers are not previously audited, if you have not been audited any time under excise also, you were not audited, and you are not audited in GST, you are prone to audit. If you are newly registered, you are prone to audit. Or if you have been audited 10 years before or 5 years before, you are prone to audit. Generally, 5 year was the maximum term so far as the excise audit was concerned. And substantial assessment was there, the size of the taxpayer turnover or the net profit, these are the trigger. The size of the loss, if the loss is huge, that is also a trigger. The refund, if you aiming the huge, you are exporter and you are, having the inverted duty structure, or a refund is there, you are prone to audit. And change in turnover, generally we have the queries notice from the department why there is turnover reduced, and we are sometimes annoyed receiving those notices that it is the business of the supplier. How can the department ask the why the turnover is reduced? It is a trigger. GP rate is the ratios are the trigger. A comparison from the previous year, and you have committed a mistake, and you have corrected the mistake in annual return, and mistake is huge. There may be audit impact of the mistake. There may be the audit ratios of expenses with turnover, ratios of turnover with assets, ratios of loans with assets. You will think why these ratios will work. They have all analytical mind and skill, and even the costing ratios also work very well. The ratios of byproduct, the ratios of joint product, the ratios of scrap. I'm telling you, apart from this list also, that what is the percentage of scrap in an industry, and there are the industry norms which are there available to them. If there is a variation from the industry norms, size of exemptions, if you are claiming exemption largely and based on your profile is important so far as the selection of audit is concerned. Otherwise, in GST, you can do any number of businesses within the same registration. No denial, there is no prohibition of doing any type of business within the same registration. The percentage of net profit and percentage of gross profit, activity average, which I've already told you, if the matter has gone for IBC, or if the taxpayer files inconsistently. I am giving you the things which are practically very important, and we keep on asking, but that is there in the mind of the department also. Legal disputes. Generally, we say if you will dispute the department will come to you. And it is not in central tax, state tax also we have seen. If the writ was filed in the High Court, there was a departmental audit. If the legal dispute was there, the department comes for another year for audit. And if the taxpayer is very prone to legal disputes, there may be audit for years. The taxpayer return were previously investigated for evasion, notices. Quality of taxpayers' books of account, friends. Quality of taxpayers' books of account. Very important. And as we see, the quality of books of account is very poor. And we also face the heat of the, quality compromises being done by the accountants, by the suppliers. There is a need for capacity building. There is a need for in-depth working on GST accounting. There is a need for properly filing the return, properly filing the statements, regularly filing, timely filing. And if we are taking it casually, it may lead to many anomalies and many notices also. The specific sector, the builders, hotels, apartments. There are some sectors which are prone to hotels, chemical business. Legal entity is also one of the criteria. Relationship, if you have so many subsidiaries, if you have valuation issues, if you have multiple branches, if you have multiple activities, what do you get from this? Either multiple activities will be there who are dealing with the grocery products or who are having, general supplies. If there is one single office and inspector goes and there is one computer and the return says HSN code, there are hundreds of HSN code which are being dealt by the supplier prone to audit. And if there are past differences in audit also, those are also prone to audit. Section 171, anti-profiteering, GST return non-filing. If a supplier stop filing of GST returns, prone to auditing. These are the triggers. Even these triggers, you will be audited once in a 5 year if you are under the central jurisdiction. You can assume this, but the frequency will be maybe once in a 3 year or 5 year, or in some cases it may they may come to you immediately for 17, 18 also. I have seen the importers where they have claimed the IGST based on the import. They are doing the audit because at that time the IGST was not automated link with GSTR2A, and they were not able to match the bill of entries with the ITC. They are the cases where the exemptions are being claimed. There are the cases where tax is only paid through ITC. There are the cases where Tran 1. And if periodical returns are not being filed, or e-way bill are being issued, but returns are not being filed. Now they have control mechanism. They are implementing slowly. But you are generating e-way bill frequently, but not filing the return. And you are making supplies interstate, or the value of supplies are goods. There is no e-way bill which is being generated by you. There may be a case of bill to ship to. You may not be liable, but that may be prone to auditing and substantial increase of the turnover. And which I have told you, that electronic cash ledger and TDS. TDS is being deducted regularly, but you are not filing your 3B, or you are not showing the turnover in 3B, although the TDS is being deducted regularly. This is the, only a sample of working by the Central Tax Department. Apart from this, the Central Tax Department has huge database, industry-wise database, industry-wise HSN-wise database. Based on those data, they can trigger the audit. They can come to the auditee for a specific clarification only. They will pinpoint the issues only, and they can do the audit. I think with this, if you want to make it interactive, Sandeep ji, we can discuss, and if there is any query or interaction from the participants.
Rohit ji, there is some poor internet connection at my side, and I am not seeing any query in either chat box or Q&A section. I would request you if you can check in Q&A section, because
in Q&A I am not finding.
Okay.
But if someone wants, otherwise I will move to the show cause notices, because this is the prima facie discussion, and discussion moves on practical aspects, and there are so many practical aspects which may be there, which are very important while doing the auditing. First of all, once AD1 is issued, there is a checklist. I initially also mentioned. There is an importance of that checklist also.
Okay.
So that checklist we need to prepare, and we need to first audit ourselves before giving any information, any document, any table to the audit party. Just audit yourself first, that what information you are giving, you are giving, and what will be the impact of the information which is given to the department. And that is the very important aspect, and we need to take care what types of information, because in the summary, whatever the checklist they are asking, many of the issues are already comes into the highlight. So if they ask you to prepare ITC list, and they ask you to ITC availed and ITC as per 2A. So you need to reconcile the ITC as per 2A. You need to understand the difference, why it is there, and you need to have the answer for those differences also. What I am having the feedback and having the queries, in many cases, the suppliers are surrendering and they are saying, actually, this is not the credit. Actually, this is needs to be deposited. Actually, this is not the rate of tax. So now at this time, it will cost you heavy. Interest is already there. There may not be penalty if it is during the course of audit only, or if the audit party choose to have it in under section 73. But there are many cases of RCM on government supplies which are coming into the picture. There are many cases of interest which are coming into the picture. There are many cases where the exemption is being claimed by the suppliers on many count, and department is raising the question. Even the RCM on this ocean freight, sea freight issue is coming. Many of the professionals are saying, and that there is a judgment of High Court which is in favor of the SSE, but that may not be applicable to audit party, because the High Court judgments are only jurisdictional judgments. It is not compelling binding of the audit party of another state. There may be issues, and there are issues coming out. And now one question I have got here: what if the registration is cancelled and SSE made an application for revocation of order, but the department has not taken action on that revocation application? There are many cases. Earlier, the instances was very frequent, but now they are taking the action. Rather on cancellation application, they are mum. But if these types of situation are coming, you can write to the department. If you write in writing, then the department will take the action. And for revocation also, you need to pursue, you need to write to the department or to the higher authorities of the proper officer that the application for revocation has been submitted and no action has been taken. So that you can do. Many times you visit the department, and visiting of the department is not substituting the writing to the department, letter in writing. And if they are not accepting the CC to the commissioner, approaching the higher authorities in writing, submitting the representation with the higher authorities, additional commissioner, jurisdictional, or the commissioner, that this is still, the application for revocation is still pending, and it is your fundamental right to have the registration to do the business, and no one can prevent you from doing the business. And it is a very important issue. The proper officer should dispose of the revocation application as early as possible. Either he may reject the application based on the grounds, and you can go for further action against the rejection order also. So these are the questions which I was getting. And Sandeep ji, if any other interaction is there, or I can
Rohit ji,
yes.
I think only there was one query. Tanvi is asking any time limit, right?
Time limit is not there prescribed in law.
We don't have any
that is
such
there.
other queries, right? And when Subhas Kumar ji is raising hand, let me check with Subhas Kumar ji if he is able to talk to us. Just a minute, I'm allowing him. Subhas ji, are you there? Subhas ji? Subhas ji? Rohit ji, I think we should move forward, right? So,
Yes.
जैसे ही होंगे, then we'll do further.
Yes. This audit we are going to face now or in near very future, and we have to equip ourselves for handling these types of audit notices. And then we have one special notice, a special audit, basically that is section 66. That special audit is there under income tax also. That special audit was there under excise also. That who can direct this special audit? The special audit can be directed by the officer not below the rank of assistant commissioner, with the prior approval of the commissioner, and issue the ADT 3 notice. When this notice will be issued, that is very important, which we are going to discuss. And audit can be conducted by the chartered accountant or cost accountant. So there is the similar provision as we are having in case of section 35(5) audit, that can be done. When can the special audit be directed? So that is important. At any stage of scrutiny or inquiry or investigation or any other proceeding before the officer, meaning thereby if there was the scrutiny going on, or when there was an investigation, when the documents reply submitted by the supplier, the complexity of the accounts was like that. It was not possible to find out the actual tax liability. The nature and the complexity of the case was that it is in the interest of the revenue to get the accounts audited, special audited. That's why I was referring to the meticulous accounting, filing of returns carefully, and handling the GST matter carefully. And when the officer is of the opinion that the value has not been correctly declared, it means when the valuation issue arises, then also a special audit can be directed. Valuation issues are coming in many cases. Big company cases also, the valuation issues are coming. Actually, the implementation of the GST in many cases was done in haste, and the policies prepared by the companies are giving the problem, and the department is going for the investigation also. And the credit availed is not within the normal limits. Under the excise, we had the data that how much is the percentage of credit, which is the industry average. If the percentage of SENVAT availed against the output tax liability was more than that, so that was triggering the audit, and that may trigger a special audit also. Industry-wise data was there, but now in GST that data will not work, because now the ITC is, much more wider than the SENVAT credit which was available under the excise regime. So they have their own experiences which they, utilize in near future by revising their industry norms based on the data which is coming in GST. And this, in this case, the chartered accountant and cost accountant will be given the audit. And what is the time limit? Time limit is generally the 90 days. Within 90 days, the report is to be submitted. And if it is not submitted, the further extension of 90 days can be allowed. And on conclusion of the audit, the registered person shall be informed of the findings of the special audit in ADT 4. The findings of the special audit will be, communicated, and based on that, the department may utilize the findings after giving the opportunity of being heard. If there is any material which is going to be utilized against the, supplier for making the demand or whatever, then the opportunity will be given, and the fees of the audit will be decided and paid by the commissioner, and it will be based on the panel of auditor, like we have in income tax also, we had in excise also, the panel of GST special auditor, and fees is being paid. It is not being largely utilized nowadays, but in near future we may have this facility being utilized by the department for typical or large cases. And where the findings are there of the special audit, that may lead to the show cause notice, and that may lead to the show cause notice under section 73 or 74, and that will be the fate of this special audit that can go there. So this is the special audit which we were discussing, and after that we have the notices of adjudication under section 73 and 74. That is a gamut. I give you the highlights of this notice. Sandeep ji, can you give me a minute time?
Friends, seems there is some technical issue. Uh, Please bear with us. Let me check with Rohit ji.
Sandeep ji, I am here. Can you listen to me?
I'm able to listen to you, Rohit ji.
Now you can listen, huh?
Yeah. Now it's coming.
Yeah. So this, adjudication of demand is also correlated topic, and this is the course of action with the department for issuing the notices after the audit is conducted. If the findings of the audit, there is a short payment of tax, or there is a short rate of tax, there is a refund which is wrongly availed, or the ITC which has been wrongly claimed or availed or utilized by the supplier, then it will lead to the show cause notice. And as I have told you, before the show cause notice, there is a pre-show cause notice proceedings also. Just have a see the what is the sequence of these proceedings, and because it is a topic in itself and we may not be having the time to discuss the each and every aspect of this notice, but certainly as a consequence of the audit, I would like to cover the highlights of this provision. The notice comes in the from DRC 01, and it can be under section 73 or 74. The difference is that in 74 there is a tax evasion, which is misrepresentation or wrongly claimed, or it is by way of fraud. But in case of 73, these are not the cases: fraud, willful misstatement, or wrongly claimed. And section 73, 74 DRC 2 is the statement. This is the DRC 2 comes into the picture where the similar issue is there for subsequent period also. If for one period the show cause notice has been issued, and on the similar grounds for the another period the notice is issued, they can issue a statement directly rather than issuing the show cause notice. And if the supplier or the registered person or the recipient is agreeing the amount which has been mentioned in the show cause notice, then he can pay it voluntarily in DRC 3 form. There may be penalty also. Interest is there. Interest is always there if there is a tax which is paid later on, and penalty may or may not be there. If it is a payment under section 74, the 15% penalty will be there along with the taxes. And if it is a payment under section 73, there may not be a case of penalty, but only the tax and interest may be paid. So this utility, this DRC 3 form, is being utilized at the time of filing of the annual return also, and department has issued clarification also, mainly while doing the self-assessment, because in annual return we don't have any opportunity to make the payment of taxes. It is only the compilation of the figures, compilation of the data. There is no opportunity for making the payment. If you want to make the payment, you have to utilize the facility of DRC 3, which is there under section 73 or 74 subsection 5. By this way, the show cause notice will not be issued, but the acknowledgement in DRC 4 may be issued by the department, acknowledging that whatever the amount has been paid, that is being accepted. But generally, in case of annual returns and other voluntary compliance, this is not being issued. this DRC3 is being used for the detention of goods and vehicle during the movement also, and order is passed in MOV 7 and 9, and then this DRC3, the tax is being paid. And if the payment of tax and interest is made within 30 days of the SCN, then also another opportunity is there. Within 30 days, the supplier can make the payment. And in that case also, the minimum penalty 15% or no penalty in case of section 73 will be there. So 15, 25, 50, 100. These are the slabs for penalty in case of section 74. And order for against the show cause notice comes in DRC 5, where the proceedings in section 73 or 74 are concluded, and there may be a demand which may be raised in the order. And if you have paid it in DRC 3, but after issue of the show cause notice, then the order will be passed after appropriating the amount paid, and there may not be any further liability. But if you have not paid the amount before this, then there may be a case where you have to pay the liability further. And this is the whole schema of the taxation, where it starts from the filing of the return, and the returns are tracked. Actually, it is the returns which are being tracked from inception, and it is leading till to the show cause notice. Apart from this, there are detention of goods also during the movement of goods. That is also very important, in which these DRC forms are being utilized. I think Sandeep ji, I have tried to cover the topic, and
Yeah.
if there are any queries, we can take up, or otherwise we can conclude.
I don't think so. We don't have any query, Rohit. So you can conclude, and I think we have almost covered the session.
Yes, and as it is most practicable topic, and initially also I said, rather than learning, it is more execution. And we are on the execution part. And once the specific case is there, we need to analyze the case, and based on the specific case, we need to submit the reply. We need to handle the audit. We need to handle the audit party. We need to have the information which is convincing. Always try to consolidate the information. There should not be a situation when the audit party comes, or you go to the audit party, and your information is in a haphazard manner, and you are not able to satisfy the party, you are not able to reply. It should be clear understanding what they are asking and what you are submitting. And I would rather say, rather than the bulky data, the summary will work more. If you are able to summarize the issue, that will be going to helpful, and they will be more convinced. Otherwise, once they ask for you the detailed discussion, detailed information, then you may submit. If you are giving the long bunch of information, but that is not summarized, and that is confusing, you may not be able to convince the audit party. So that is the rule, golden rule. You need to summarize the things. You need to pinpoint on the issues raised by the audit party, and you will be having the communication skill for convincing the audit party. So with this, I think the whole audit procedure, I have tried to cover it out, and really it is very interesting to share the thoughts with the professional colleagues. Although it is not face to face, we could have much interaction in face to face rather than in this digital platform. But the demand of the time is that we are interacting on the digital platform. And I am thankful to all the participants who have listened to me so carefully. They are still joined from the starting of this deliberation, and thankful to the East Delhi Study Circle convener CA Sandeep Sharma ji for giving me this opportunity. And it is not first time I have been here n number of time in this study circle and enjoy your company. Thank you very much, Sandeep ji, and all organizers.
Thank you so much, Rohit ji. Thanks a lot. Beautiful deliberation, or the way you have completed the entire topic is really appreciable. And although there was no more interaction from our participant, but yes, participants were more than 145, and I hope they thoroughly enjoy it as well. तो इन्हीं सब बातों के साथ अब हमारे फाउंडर कन्वीनर सी दुर्गादास अग्रवाल जी से मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा।
संदीप जी आप नजर नहीं आ रहे हो
सर, वो इंटरनेट में ना मुझे इश्यू आ रही है थोड़ी, है ना, तो
नो प्रॉब्लम।
तो आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट दुर्गादास जी टू प्लीज गिव योर कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क्स। थैंक यू सर।
मैं समझता हूं कि ऑडिट का ए से लेके जेड तक सब कुछ डिस्कस हो गया। क्या प्रिकॉशंस हैं, हम सोचते हैं कि भाई अकाउंटेंट ने ला के रख दिया, हम जरा थोड़ा बहुत चेक कर लें और साइन कर दें, दैट इज वेरी बैड, जैसा रोहित जी ने हिंट दिया। तो वी शुड बी वेरी केयरफुल। जीएसटी, अब पहले जीएसटी वालों को समझ नहीं थी, अब हमसे ज्यादा समझ है और आगे समझ रहे हैं। टेक्नोलॉजी उनके पास है, बड़े बड़े एनालिटिकल सॉफ्टवेयर उनके पास हैं, कोई भी हेरा फेरी वो जो है फटाफट कैच कर सकते हैं। तो हमको बड़े केयरफुल होके, ड्यू डिलीजेंस होके, विदाउट नेग्लिजेंस अपने ऑडिट करके देना है। ये बात याद रखना है। आपके पास सफिशिएंट वर्किंग पेपर सफिशिएंट है। तो मैं समझता हूँ काफी सेवाएं ले ली, 2 घंटे लगातार रोहित जी बोल रहे हैं। तो अगर फेस टू फेस होता तो थोड़ा बहुत कुछ मौका भी मिल जाता है इंटरेक्ट करने का मेंबर्स के साथ में, पार्टिसिपेंट के साथ में। लेकिन फिर भी रोहित जी ने बहुत अच्छे से इसको डेलिब्रेट किया। आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद रोहित जी। आपको बस हाथ जोड़ के धन्यवाद कर सकते हैं, चाय की भी नहीं पूछ सकते। चाय अपने ऑफिस में पीजिए, पार्टिसिपेंट से भी बोल लेंगे। आपने 2 घंटे लगाए हैं, एंजॉय करें। और इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ में रोहित जी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद दिल्ली स्टडी सर्किल की तरफ से और अपने पार्टिसिपेंट की तरफ से करना चाहूंगा कि आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। और दोस्तों, जैसा पहले संदीप जी ने मैंने भी बताया, हमारा दिसंबर का नेक्स्ट प्रोग्राम 8, 9, 10 दिसंबर, उसके बाद 15, 16 दिसंबर 4 से 6 2 आवर्स ईच, टोटल 12 आवर्स का ये प्रोग्राम है। आप अपने को प्लान कर लीजिए उस हिसाब से। और सभी का धन्यवाद। इसके पीछे जो हमें जो सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, टेक्निकल सपोर्ट, उस टीम को भी हमें हमारा धन्यवाद। और आप सभी को त्योहार तो खत्म हो गए, लेकिन अब मैरिज के त्योहार चल रहे हैं, उनकी बधाइयाँ। प्लीज टेक केयर, कीप सेफ डिस्टेंस एंड कीप हेल्दी एंड वेल्दी। नमस्कार, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू सो मच सर, थैंक्स अ लॉट।
6 बज गए, लीव कर सकते हैं।
अब इन्हीं सब बातों के साथ जी, आई रिक्वेस्ट, थैंक यू।